Okay, we're going to discuss the Burton Band's Vursawedge, which is this device right here. Essentially, it's a plastic wedge that has this unique ability to split open as you place it. And what's unique about that is that when we place it clinically in the embrasure like so, and as you press it through, you can see how the wings of the end of the wedge split open, allowing the wedge to follow both contours of both teeth at the same time. This is very important in enhancing the gingival margin seal and also allowing the wedge to stay in a lower profile and allowing our matrix bands to maintain their contour. So I'll just demonstrate a few different scenarios for use of the Vursawedge. So on the premolar here, we just got mid-sized prep. I've already placed my Garrison sectional matrix. So the Vursawedge can be placed from either the buccal or the palatal or lingual. And if it doesn't work one way, take it out and try it the other way. But you just place the Vursawedge like so into position. And depending on the embrasure and how much pressure is put on that Vursawedge, you may see it split just a little or more. It depends on the situation. But what you can do next is what makes this very unique. So the Vursawedge is compatible with pretty much all major ring systems: Triodent, Garrison, and Palodent. And so what you're going to do is take the Triodent ring, as I'm going to demonstrate here, and you're going to place it over the handle, and you're just going to let that buccal side touch the tooth. And on the lingual or palatal side here, you're just going to release the ring in between the wings of that splitting wedge. And what you can see it do is really grab that matrix band with the wedge wing and really give you a nice, tight gingival seal. But what's more important is that it helps stabilize your ring and helps position you when you are placing the ring. So these wedge wings that engage the ring kind of help the ring not want to slide. So you get a lot more ring stability. But more importantly, it allows your matrix to maintain its contour. A lot of the wedges that we use currently want to sit up in this gingival embrasure space, which causes the matrix band to want to pull away from the tooth in this direction. So this design allows the matrix band and the wedge to work together rather than work apart, and really complements the ring well. This is also, like I said, compatible with Garrison's Nitin rings and Garrison's 3D fusion rings. Another case that I'd like to demonstrate with the Vursawedge real quick is in quadrant dentistry. So when you've got some adjacent lesions here, things can get pretty tricky pretty quickly. It's hard to control our wedging and to get perfect contours and not have our matrix bands collapse on one tooth and have an open margin on the other. But Vursawedge is really something in these cases. It's fascinating. So you're just gonna take, I've already got the two sectional matrix bands here. You're just gonna take your Vursawedge, again, place it either from the buccal, the lingual, or palatal. And again, when you place it in, it's going to depend on the shape of the embrasure, on how that wedge acts on the other side. Sometimes you'll get a real wide split. Other times it'll just kind of come through a bit straight through. But either way, you do the same exact thing. You take your ring, go over the handle on one side, and then you just split the Vursawedge wings on the lingual, and you just slowly release. And then what you've got, two perfectly sealed gingival margins. And you can kind of see where the matrix bands, it's kind of hard to see in this video, but the matrix bands are touching at the proper contact area. So you don't have a gap in between these matrix bands, which is a very unique feature of this in the way this wedge works, but largely for this gingival seal and having the ability to get two different margins sealed at the same time. So in the quadrant dentistry, you've got one tooth going at one angle, the other tooth going at the other angle. Sometimes this tooth is, you can see this tooth is diving in a certain direction differently. The Vursawedge really handles that well. The Vursawedge is also compatible. I get a lot of questions on 360 or circumferential matrix bands, and they are compatible with all of them. So Pro Matrix, this is the Paleodent 360, but they are compatible with Pro Matrix as well. So you just use it the exact same way. You pop it in, and you can place a ring or not place a ring depending on the situation or how you do things, but certainly compatible with all these different matrix systems. And the Vursawedge will really change your efficiency and outcome with the fact that it's able to really seal these gingival margins so well, and it takes down your finishing and polishing time substantially, and that happens to be a very difficult area to reach as it is. Yeah, that's essentially how Vursawedge works. There are some other videos on Vursawedge with cuspal involvement cases like this, so be sure to take a look at those, or some of the Burton bands posterior.